Hi lovelies! Our holiday baking extravaganza continues today with what I think has become my new favorite cookie of all time. These are Bailey's Irish Cream Chocolate Chunk Cookies. And yes, they are absolutely outrageously good. Now, these cookies make an amazing gift for the coffee lover in your life, the chocolate lover in your life, the cookie lover in your life, so pretty much everyone. And they're actually really easy to make. So the first thing I should mention about these cookies, because I want to give credit where credit is due, is that they were not my idea. I had a craving for some Irish cream cookies and found this amazing recipe online by a blogger named Baker by Nature. If you haven't checked out her blog yet, you totally should. She's amazing. And she has the most incredible Irish cream cookies on her site. So I took her recipe and did a few modifications. In the description box, I've linked both the original recipe and my modified recipe for you to enjoy. I just thought it was such an inspired idea. I wanted to give her a proper shout out because, you know, it's not always easy to break the mold when it comes to cookie making, and this recipe I think does just that. Now, of course, as with any cookie recipe, this one starts with our dry ingredients. So first in my bowl, I've got some all-purpose flour, and to that, I'm going to be adding some baking powder and a little bit of salt. Pretty classic stuff so far. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and add some instant espresso powder to this. So if you're not familiar with instant espresso powder, it can usually be found in the coffee aisle at your supermarket along with all of the other instant coffees. Now, I opted to use decaf espresso powder here, but you could just as easily use caffeinated if you wanted to. And you can add as little or as much as you want, depending on the coffee flavor you want to impart in your cookies. And I'm just gonna go ahead and whisk all of my dry ingredients together until they're really nicely combined. Then I'll set these aside and get to work on my wet ingredients. And as in any good cookie recipe, that all starts with some butter. When you're making cookies like this, you always want to make sure that your butter is at room temperature. To my butter, I'm going to be adding some brown sugar and some white sugar. And I always recommend when you're making cookies to use both because the brown sugar has this incredible flavor thanks to the molasses added to it, and the white sugar makes a really good texture. So combining the two always, in my opinion at least, gives you the best cookies. Next, I'm just gonna head in here with my hand mixer and beat this up until it's nice and light and fluffy. Then it's time to go ahead and add our eggs to the bowl. So I've got 2 eggs here that I've also brought to room temperature, and I'm just going to blend those into my butter and sugar mixture until they're well combined. Next, it's time to infuse this mixture with some amazing Irish cream flavor. So I've got a few tablespoons of Bailey's Irish Cream liqueur here. No, this video is not sponsored if you're wondering. I just really love a little bit of Bailey's around the holiday season. If you've never had Irish cream liqueur, it's this nice combination of chocolate flavor, a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of cinnamon, and when it all comes together, it's super tasty when added to coffee. Now, if you do not drink alcohol, you can absolutely leave it out and these cookies will still be amazing. They will just taste like mochaccino cookies, basically. I'm also going to be adding a nice healthy splash of vanilla extract to these cookies because vanilla extract just makes everything so much better. Once I've got all of that in my bowl, I'll give it another good mix until everything's well combined. Then it's time to add my dry ingredients into my wet. I like doing this half at a time, so I'll add half of my dry ingredients, mix it in really thoroughly, and then the other half until I've created this really lovely dough. Now I have to tell you, one thing you'll notice right away is that your kitchen is going to smell amazing because you've got the Irish cream liqueur aroma, you've got that beautiful coffee aroma, and that subtle vanilla extract. So good things are already happening. But because it is the holidays, we of course want to make this even better. And I am choosing to do that today with these beautiful dark chocolate chunks. The original recipe called for some semi-sweet chocolate chips, which would totally work here. But I just love the dark chocolate chunks because they add really nice texture. And of course, I love that rich flavor of dark chocolate in cookies like this. So as soon as my chocolate chunks are nice and folded in, I'm gonna go ahead and just cover this with a kitchen towel and get it into the refrigerator for between 1 and 2 hours. You wanna make sure your dough is nice and cold when it hits the oven so that your cookies don't spread too much. Let me tell you, the wait is going to be difficult, but I promise you, it will all be worth it. Once my cookies have been amply chilled, it's time to form them. I like doing this with a nice scoop so I get perfectly uniform cookies. And what I like to do is just scoop the dough usually into my hands, and I'll just give it a quick roll and a pat down. And I'm just going to arrange those on my cookie sheet. You wanna leave ample space in between your cookies to make sure they've got a little bit of room to spread out during the cooking process. It's so great because you can smell the Irish cream and you can also smell the coffee. And let's be honest, those are two really good smells. I really like to add just a couple more chocolate chunks to the top of each cookie for good measure. And then these are ready for baking. Don't be shy. Everyone likes more chocolate. No one's gonna be like, no, wait, please, fewer chocolate chunks. As soon as my cookies are formed, I'm going to get them into a preheated oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for between 10 and 12 minutes, or just until they start to get slightly golden around the edges. That's how you know they're ready to come out of the oven. And at this point, I highly recommend finishing them off with just a little bit of flaked sea salt. Oh, that flaked sea salt mixed with that beautiful dark chocolate and that rich coffee flavor is just something to absolutely die for. You guys are going to love these. I really hope you guys will give them a try for yourselves. They make the perfect gift for the holidays, or hey, you could just enjoy them yourself. Totally fine. That's probably what I'm gonna do. Let's be real. I hope you will give these a try and that you love them as much as I do. If you do, be sure to tweet me, Instagram me, or Facebook me a photo because you know how much I love seeing your kitchen creations. The full recipe, like all of my recipes, is linked in the description box below so you can find all of the ingredients and the written instructions there. And finally, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe because there is lots more deliciousness where this came from.